kids, I hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be talking about our favorite online celebrity and resident queen, Shane Dawson. Now, my generation grew up right around the peak time of Shane Dawson's reign, the peak of early 2000s social media and YouTube growth in general. And, at PS Kids, it used to look like this. I'll also admit begrudgingly that I, for a very small amount of time in like 2006, when I was like 10, I did enjoy his videos. But when I say enjoyed his videos, I mean I enjoyed this content, not this content. There's a period of time where I genuinely liked his haunted exploration videos with Morgan and Ryan and the gang, but that was a while ago, and I have since moved on to other content I enjoy. Personally, I quickly left that area of YouTube once like song covers and lyric videos and the more music, gaming, and makeup territories of YouTube popped up. I became way more interested in those than vloggers. As a prime example, I never got into David Dobrik or Liza Koshy. I was too busy trying to watch Amnesia custom stories and also find the best way to do my eyeliner, and then simultaneously listening to Never Shout Never, if any of you are over 20 years old and remember Never Shout Never. But essentially what I'm saying is I don't know much about Shane's general content, except for when it all kind of blew up in his face, when his older stuff came back to haunt him. If you want a detailed rundown of that whole mess, please check out any of these videos. I'll have them linked below in the description and in the card to the side. Now, quick segue, I'm slipping this in here while I'm editing. When I was looking for videos and images to use in my video, I came across a channel. His name is Nick DeRomeo. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. He basically analyzes and critiques films, the directing of films, the acting, cinematography, anything related to films, he critiques them. But there's a video from about a year ago where he basically analyzed Shane's behavior as a director during this reality show where two directors, Shane and another woman, were given a script and they had to create a film from that script. And the video basically highlights Shane's like really toxic behavior. I found this really interesting. And of course, when we're looking at the controversies of Shane Dawson, definitely him being like a really shitty person in the role of a director for a film is low tier compared to blackface and pedophilia and other problems that we have seen coming from this man, but I just thought it was relevant and really interesting. So now that I have wasted a long time explaining the video and my personal experiences with Shane's content, and about half of you have clicked off according to my analytics, let's begin. I also want to put in right here multiple trigger warnings in this video because Shane, I don't know if he's known for this or if this is something he does in all of his videos, but Shane has a way of talking about himself that's very self-deprecating. And not only is it self-deprecating, he freely, suddenly, and jarringly makes jokes, comments, and little quirky things that he says about self-harm and suicide. So please be careful if you do go check out his videos or this most recent one for yourself. He does mention those topics. So I'm gonna save you all a lot of time, whether you're on a work break, you're waiting in line for something, or you're just relaxing to this video after a long day of work. Shane's new video contains no apology, no official statement on his part of acknowledgement of anything in the past, nothing. He just eases his way back into his spooky ooky content. Since recording this video that I'm making right now, he has one more uploaded titled Haunted Theories with Shane Dawson, but I don't really want to address that video. I want to address his quote-unquote returning to the internet video, as you would say, since this is his first upload in a year since his accountability video. Now you could say his taking accountability video is his main video addressing the heat he was getting at the time. But the way I took this video, the accountability video, was him just acknowledging the situation, not really taking the time to reflect and explore what was wrong with his past content and why people were criticizing him. He essentially said that he admitted his humor was too dark, that his jokes toward children were something he would never joke about, which in itself is kind of a hypocritical statement to make because as he's saying, oh, I would never make those jokes towards underage children, There are recorded videos he has posted and that are on the internet where he does in fact make those sexual jokes against children.
And I turn it into jokes. Swear on my life, I am not somebody who would ever talk about a child, like in seriousness. I would never talk about a child in any way that was inappropriate. That is disgusting. That is gross. It is not something I would ever do. It is something I did for shock value or because I thought it was funny or like, oh my god, my child molester character or whatever. It's all gross. And I promise that is not.
He says that his racial slurs, jokes, and blackface should have and would have cost him his career if he acted that way now. But that seems to me like he's just admitting that he never should have acted that way. He just wouldn't have gotten away with it now. But it seemed like for him, he was mostly apologizing for his racist past, which is good, but not really saying much about how his content overall and how he as a person needs a change, which is bad. A lot of criticisms at the time were also stemmed from his friendship with Jeffree Star, who we all know to be a manipulative person who has a racist past and is kind of known on the internet for being an awful human being. In general, I didn't find this video very helpful in ways of YouTube apologies go, because I feel like the best case scenario is that Shane should have really told his community not only was he acknowledging what he has done wrong in the past, but he himself was going to work on changing as a person and change his content and channel as a whole. I feel like most YouTube apologies should be farewell videos. I think those would be received a lot better by people. Like, I'm going to mention it a couple of times, but Jenna Marble's video. Jenna's apology video was a farewell video. This is what I've done wrong. This is what I'm going to do to change it. And I'm going to semi-permanently leave the internet to focus on myself, my content, and who I am. I feel like that's where a lot of YouTube apologies miss the mark, is because instead of it being a proper farewell video, I'll be back when I should be back, it's mostly people just saying what they know will placate the internet and their audience while they go on vacation or they do some sort of fake I'm a shitty person rehab. So he really should have addressed his community and just say, I acknowledge what I've done, I need to change my content, I need to change my channel, I need to change myself, and I will be back no sooner than when that happens. The comments are also turned off on this video, so there's no way to know how negatively or positively this video was received by the internet, except if you go and track down some reaction channels to this video and see if they had any screenshots of comments. I am going to slip in here, and I will talk about this at the end, that we all know cancel culture is toxic. It is. No matter what type of apology you dish out after facing some sort of drama or backlash, there's going to be a large amount of people who will do everything in their power to make sure others don't forget about your past and will never forgive you. That's just the harsh reality of it. But holding people accountable is important. It's important we have discussions of people acknowledging their past hurts and actions, and that they take the proper time away to reflect on who they are and what needs to change, whether that's them, people in their life, their content, their channel, etc. And that's what I wanted from this holding accountability video, which is ironic because it's named holding accountability, but he doesn't actually hold accountability for himself. I didn't want a long list of what Shane had done wrong. He's just repeating what people already know, which, yeah, it's important that he acknowledges what he did wrong and acknowledges what needs to change. But I wanted him to sit down and really say, you know what, I did horrible shit because I thought at the time it was funny, and it wasn't. And because of this, I'm going to take time away. I'm going to reflect on my content and who I am as a person. And when I come back, I hope to be a better example for content creators and what it means to be a comedian slash influencer slash creator slash YouTuber. That's what I wanted from Shane. And honestly, most YouTube apologies that I see. I mentioned this before, but the best to this day I've ever seen, of course, is Jenna's video and Jenna's addressing her audience. And I just really was hoping that over the past year, he would have done that personal growth and reflection on his character. Now, for this Haunting of Shane Dawson video, firstly, let's acknowledge the comments. Heavily monitored. A few people are saying the same thing. And it's not until around the 16 to 17 minutes into the video when Shane addresses what's been going on in his life. That's my first problem. You should definitely go watch the video yourself and make your own opinions. Of course, you know my two main rules, but personally, I will mostly focus on what was lacking from the video overall. Now, I'm not saying that he can't create content ever again and can't follow his passions. Like, go for it, my friend, buddy, pal. Make your horror films, do your hauntings with your friends, whatever. But I feel like there should have been a buffer video between the accountability video from over a year ago, almost 2 years ago, to this jump into the haunting and spooky content. There needed to be some sort of filler content where Shane sat down and acknowledged if he changed. What did he learn from his mistakes? Did his nearly 2 years away from YouTube teach him anything about life or who he is as a person? Is he still friends with the people that he admitted himself were bad people?
That I hold my friends or people I care about to a lower standard than I hold other people. That's wrong, and I'm so sorry. I think I get attached to people who have a heart, and maybe it's covered in a lot of stuff, and maybe they have a lot of issues, but I almost feel like I am attracted to other broken people who have issues, and I want to help them. I want to fix them, or I want to help people see a better side of them. And I'm aware that I'm friends with some people that have done some bad things on the internet, and I don't condone it, and I don't co-sign it, and that is something that I've always addressed with them privately.
What is different from this Shane that I'm watching now and the Shane that I was watching over a year ago? And if not a filler video, or some standalone video where he addresses how he's changed as a person, feels like he's ready to come back to the internet, something at the beginning of this new video. It just seems to me that the way he jumps right back into making content again screams that he didn't take what happened seriously and he hasn't really changed. Celebrating the fact that you've moved into a nice new big home in Colorado and that you didn't learn anything from your time away and making light of these really serious issues that happened sucks. It doesn't help anyone, and it makes the rest of us expecting some sort of well put together apology or like bare minimum acknowledgement towards his past actions. It makes us disappointed. Throughout the rest of the video, there are random sprinkles of information of Shane's life during his time away, where he mainly focuses on talking about how the pressures of people not wanting him on the internet where he mainly focuses on talking about how the pressures of people not wanting him on the internet made him want to leave, not admitting that his actions that led to backlash on the internet is what made him want to leave, and I would even say forced him to leave. He says that he felt like his life was ruined, that people will always hate him and some will always like him, and all it is literally every form of shifting blame that you can imagine. He doesn't take the blame for anything, doesn't apologize, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but he does not deliver a sincere and concise apologize even once. In my opinion, all of this is just tasteless and can be hung up on the wall next to all the other YouTube apologies that we have that leave us disappointed and high and dry because we don't get what we want. We as the internet, we don't get that sincere apology, and we don't get that sort of closure that we need after, watching someone who is an influencer that we follow or someone that we respect, which I do not follow Shane Dawson, I do not respect him. We need that closure. I wasn't even involved in his fan base, and I still wanted some sort of closure, some sort of apology, or some sort of acknowledgement of the bad shit. Now, it's not in this video, I believe. I refuse to watch any more of Shane Dawson content for the rest of my life unless I absolutely have to, and I'm not talking about his most recent uploads, I'm just talking about the Haunting of Shane Dawson video, his comeback video. But I have seen on Twitter a lot of people are addressing the issues that they had with Shane Dawson and Rylan and Morgan, kind of all just joking and being laughy about this haunted Native American space where all these Native American people were murdered by a white man. Now, the jokes are pretty tasteless, and the way they are talking about the situation is very telling because Shane Dawson addresses the fact that he might get bad karma from the situation, not really so much that it might be disrespectful to be filming and doing this on YouTube. So if you want to find out more about that, please go to Twitter and check it out, or you can just check out his most recent video, up to you. But yeah, I felt like it was important that I also mention this happened in a more recent video because I don't think I'm gonna make any more videos about Shane Dawson, and I honestly really don't want to. So, I've seen a couple of people talk about how cancel culture is toxic. No matter what you do, people are going to hate you, da 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 da. And I will agree that cancel culture is bad, but sometimes it is necessary. So, my personal theory is that we, the internet, people on the internet in general, especially in circles of influencers, YouTubers, TikTokers, things like this, we're trapped in a vicious cycle where people are aggressively fed up with the lack of accountability to people in power. So they overcompensate and nitpick every little thing influencers and YouTubers do, looking for something to get them canceled for. Anything from saying a slur on camera to being rude to someone in a restaurant. And you could argue if a YouTuber really amounts to the title of someone in power, but I believe they are.
I've got passion out.
That was a lot.
I hate when influencers think that their actions or when their words don't have like consequences. Like if they tweet something or if they're political garbage or anti-vax, whatever it is, and they're like, but don't take my word on it. Like, I'm just one person. And it's like, no, bitch, you lead like an army of people who will follow you in battle. Like, your actions and your words actually do have consequences. Yeah. So please tweet responsibly. That's what I hate.
I agree with that. But I also disagree with that. Yes, I understand that people with tons of followers should be aware what they're saying to tons of followers who are usually impressionable and look up to you. So they're going to most likely emulate that. On the other hand, I think people should think for themselves.
When you're someone who has a following of millions and millions and millions and millions of subscribers, you have influence over these people. You have essentially power over a large group of people. Even if you have only half of the people that follow you listening to you and obeying your every command, that's still millions of people. And when you do something wrong, your old tweets get brought up, or evidence of you saying slurs or being racist, being a child groomer or predator, being anti-LGBTQ, and anything of the sort, people want you to be held accountable. I can't speak for everyone on the internet, but the general consensus is that we want accountability. We want people to admit they're wrong and to change. People want you to admit that you are wrong and then communicate a plan of change about yourself or your content. Because the reason I believe cancel culture gets out of hand is just the insane amount of people who do horrible things and get away with it. Look at Jake Paul, James Charles, Jeffree Star, Creepshow Art, and now Shane. Sure, they get internet heat for a while, but depending on how popular these people are and what they specifically do, they're able to slip back in, move on with their lives, even though most of the time, the people who have suffered on the other end of it don't get to recover as easily or as quickly. A lot of it stems from because a lot of these famous YouTubers have millions and billions of dollars along with their millions and billions of subscribers. So their version of taking time away from the internet is always a cushy vacation, and they usually are not working on themselves, they're not changing, they are just, cruising, waiting. They're waiting out the internet to forget about what horrible shit they did and move on to the next person who does more horrible shit. So while Shane is shifting blame in his video and not really apologizing for his past, not even barely acknowledging it, what changes he has made as a person to be better or do better, the fans of his, not me, who are expecting better are disappointed. The fans who are really bothered by his comments about children, his predatory behavior, his actions with underage fans, being constantly triggered by the mentions of self-harm, unaliving, and racism, are just, in general, disappointed and, from what I can tell, fed up. One of the last things I want to say in this video is that I've seen a lot of people already on YouTube talk about this. I've seen the H3 podcast video on this, but one video that I thought really hit home with most of the things that I wanted to say about Shane that either I didn't cover or was reiterated in a way I agree with is Kunken Dastner. You know what, Duncan, you could have left your name the same. It would not have been this hard for me to say it, okay? Anyways, this dude, Another video that I thought was really concise and really did a good job of summarizing the situation. He and I are kind of on the same wavelength of being disappointed and wanting more acknowledgement towards the bad shit that Shane Dawson has done. Thank you all, everyone. Thanks again for tuning into another video. I really appreciate the support. I can't believe how close we are to 1,000 subscribers. Can't wait to reach that milestone with you all. I think maybe at 1K or 2K, depending. I might make a Patreon. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I may or may not have a podcast in the works with some really cool artists. And I think Patreon would be the perfect place to start that journey, but that's a conversation for another time. Please like if you want and subscribe if you'd like, but no pressure. Feel free to check out my website and my other social media, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye.
So much fun to make. And this is also the first time I'm ever selling a song on iTunes, and I'm really nervous about it because I feel like nobody's gonna buy it. So if you liked it and you enjoyed it, please, it would mean a lot to me. You don't have to. I'm not pressuring you. But if you don't buy it, I will eat my cat.